Hey, Conor here at Neversink Farm, and I want to talk about tips for flame weeding. Some things I've learned over the years that just make it easier, more comfortable. And one thing is just having multiple tanks because, it stinks running out of propane. Flame weeders don't use a lot of propane. I guess, some of the bigger, wider ones may use a lot. I have 4 tanks so that I can bring 3 in to get filled. And then at any one time, I usually have a couple of tanks. So I don't just have one full tank. I'd like to have at least 2 tanks around so that if I have a wide open space on the field, I'm not worried about running out. It's a good day. And I just don't like going to get tanks filled up. And so it just makes it easier. The other thing related to that is if you do have flame weeder where you're carrying it on your back, one, make sure you use a small tank. It's like a 10-pound tank. It's got just 2.5 gallons in it. It's very small. It's nice and light. The backpack you use, just make sure it's comfortable, right? Any of those cheap camping backpacks with padded shoulders and a padded back, I just use an old one that I have around where the tank fits in it, and it just makes it really nice because I can just keep the tank at the right height. And that leads me to my next tip, which we're going to go over and check out where I store it and show you the most comfortable way to put it on. So I got a hook on my tool rack that's at the right height for the backpack so that I don't have to lift it off the ground. Every single time I got to go out. The only time I need to lift it out is when I empty it. Right, and then I just put it back in and keep it stored here. And before I put it on, I can actually open up the tank, close it, whatever I need to do. And if you want to get the settings right, you can open it up here and then start messing around with it. You don't have to worry about it on the ground, kind of getting in the way. Just makes it a lot easier. Another tip, which I just find to be essential, but I know you can flame without it, and that's a squeeze handle. This is one that I manufacture. There are others, but it's the same principle. It has a pilot flame, so a little bit of gas is coming through just to keep your flame lit while you move around from here to the field or in between beds. And when you squeeze it, it goes to whatever full power you set it to at the regulator. It's going to save a lot on propane and just make things nicer. And one thing I hate is, the flame weeder kind of leaving all kinds of streaks in the grass around the field. It kind of looks kind of ugly. So on a low flame, walking fast, it's not going to do any damage, which is nice. And for a final tip is temperature. What I find is people usually just overburn. They just put the thing on super, super high because when they get over the weeds, they want to see them wilt and die right in front of them. If that's happening, too hot. It's just wasting propane and it's probably destroying your flame weeder at those temperatures. Weeds are going to die at about 160 degrees. Once you get the thread stage weeds, you get them to that temperature, they're gone. There's nothing going to save them. It may take half an hour or an hour later till they actually wilt and die. But you killed them. You don't actually have to watch it happen. So you don't want a high roar. You just want a very low roar, a very grumble while it's on. It's hard to describe, but it's going to take experimentation. You want to look at your weeds and see that they've wilted half hour to an hour later rather than right in front of you. You certainly don't want to be scorching the earth, right? You don't want to be leaving it black. That's just too hot. You just don't need to do that. 160 degrees is going to be fine. Okay, so thanks for watching, and until next time.